Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. As it's letting everyone in, we'll let it go for just a minute or two while we have everyone join in. Thank you for joining us today. Give it about 30 seconds for everyone to roll in. All right, welcome everyone to our Barge Digital Transformation BDT training. It's our first seminar in a series of 3. We plan to illustrate in these trainings how to use the new BDT system that we intend to go live with lading dates starting November 1st for corn, and then later on for beans and other commodities. We expect that we may roll out beans about a month later, and then the other commodities a couple weeks after. If it goes well, we would like to launch it sooner, but kind of want to give ourselves some time. So there's a group of us on today for the presentations and for the demos. I'll have everyone introduce themselves, but I kind of wanted to go through the agenda, so let you know who all is on the call here today with us, walking us through. A lot of familiar faces and names, I'm sure, not so much faces, but probably names and voices for you today. Are experts in the industry that have really helped with the development of this system to make sure that this system is easy and usable for each and every one of you. So we're going to go through the login of the system. We're going to show you the filters that you can use for it. We're going to go through a couple different billing scenarios. In this seminar, we'll talk kind of about the easy and most common ones. Tomorrow and Thursday, we'll go through some more complicated ones with some reconsignments and some different busting scenarios. We're going to show you the digital bills of lading that are coming about in this system and how to endorse and transfer those, and then how we're uploading our weight certificate. And then we'll have about 15 minutes for Q&A in the end. Okay? So if we'll go through the list. I'd like to first introduce Wendy Brewer from CHS. And we'll introduce ourselves kind of in the order that you're going to hear our voices throughout our demos. So Wendy, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. I'm glad everyone could join us. It's an exciting time, and I think everyone will be really impressed with the platform we have.
Okay, next we have Margot Jensen from Cargill.
Hi, I'm Margot. Yeah, I hope everyone is excited to use the new system. We have it. It's pretty nice.
We also have Shalina McDougall from Ingram.
Hello, everyone. I'll be the representative for the barge line today. I'll be the one with the Southern accent, so you'll be able to tell my voice that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of Northern accents on here today, so Shalina stands out. We have Emily Godringer next from Gavilon.
Hello, everybody. I'm Emily, and I'm very excited to be a part of this.
We also have Julie Detlefson from Cargill. She's also on the NGFDS chair with myself, and we also have Mary Hitchcock from NGFA. You probably won't hear her on here, but she's the one orchestrating everything from the background, so we have a big thanks for Mary. But Julie, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, no, just thank everyone for coming on today, and then we'll just encourage you to continue to ask questions beyond this call. Please feel free to use any of us as resources for this system, and wanting to make sure that it is as seamless as a transition as possible, and then also just encouraging other people in the industry to be listening to these training sessions and getting signed up onto the system so that we can have a really great start at the beginning of November.
Great, thanks, Julie. All right, so now the part that we're all super excited about, I'll introduce you to our BDT system that's been developed in coordination with SDOCS. SDOCS has taken what we built together as the industry, an initial prototype, and built out a full-fledged system for us. So this is what it will look like. I will actually log out. So this is the screen that you'll come to log in. So each user will have their own username and password. It'll only be valid for your company. And then in each user, we have specific roles. So you have kind of a trader role, you have a trade admin, carrier. So then you have different permissions set by your administrator of the system in your own company, and that person will set what your permissions are. So then you only have people touching latings that, or transferring latings that have authorization to do so. You only have people that are making applications in the system that are allowed to do so. So I'm going to show you here how we're logging in. So I've got my email. This is case sensitive. So however your email is sent to SDocs when you get signed up in the system is how you'll need to enter it. And then you'll have your password. And you'll enter that in and sign in like any other web-based system. So again, this is a web-based system. So you'll go to a website and log in and transact all of your activities on the system. So one thing to note is that this is all for the application and the administration of the barge trade. So the phone call that you make for a trade is still the governing application. So this is just following on from that and kind of making the paperwork trail follow the actual phone application. Now, I said paperwork trail. Now it's actually just a digital trail. So it's just your data transferring from company to company. So we won't need a paper anymore. So we've come a long way in the last several months in adjusting to kind of a half digital system with all of our work from home. This takes it one step further. So you're logged into the system. You see here we'll have our inbox and our My Actions. So all of these things over here on the left are filters. And so depending on the action or status of a barge governs whether it goes into each one of these filters. So the My Actions filter is probably the one that most of you will use the most. So it's kind of a current inbox, and it's barges or things that need action from you. And so based on your company and what you need, whether you need to apply it, you've created a barge, but it needs applied out, or you need to transfer a lading or accept an application or accept a lading, it'll show up here in this My Actions tab. The next one is trade string barges. So trade string barges will show, and we just reset the system yesterday, so there isn't a lot of stuff in here, but the trade string will show barges where the user's been in a trade string, but you don't have any actions to perform. So those are a barge that you've received and applied out, but you're neither the shipper nor the end receiver. So you're just in the trade string, right? So this will be kind of where you're looking for if a destination has been proposed and you're just in a trade string and you're looking at the end of the day. Then we have barge created. So it's a barge that you've created but haven't applied out or haven't proposed a destination on. Then you have company loaded. So these are the barges where your company is the shipper. You have application sent. So it's a barge that you've applied to another trader or trading company, but they've not yet been accepted. Then you have application received. So those applications that you've given out, and then they have been accepted. There's accepted barges, so it's the flip-flop of the other one. So it's a barge that you've been applied and you have accepted. And so these are all active status. So it's, I've accepted a barge, but I haven't done anything yet with it. Then there is build barges. So these are barges where your company is the end receiver. So it's self-built, so you're sending it to your own self at your own destination. We have destination proposed. So these are barges that you're where a destination has been proposed, that's the status over here on the right. You can see these in My Actions. You can see all the some of the different statuses. And then we have then destination proposed and destination rejected. So the carrier could, in all actuality, reject a destination. So we love to pick on Wendy, but say a barge was billed to CHS at Myrtle Grove and that freight contract didn't allow for that. The carrier could reject the bill of lading request and the destination request, and it would go back there, and then they would have to rebill it. Then we have bill of lading requested, bill of lading received, bill of lading transferred. So for that whole process of a bill of lading is created or requested from the carrier, and then once they transfer it, create and transfer, and then when you receive and then transfer it out again. There's document uploaded filter, which shows then if you've uploaded a grade cert or a weight cert, and then completed trips, but definitely the archive. So archive is a transactions from completed trips that are moved to the archive within 45 days. Additionally, the carriers have different filters. Some are the same, definitely a shorter list, but they have ones that are specific to them as well. Jelena can probably give you a little peep at those in a bit. So those are the filters. With that, we will go into our first billing scenario, which is a simple billing scenario. It is just a shipper to an end receiver, and Wendy will take it over from here.
Hi, everyone. Again, this is Wendy from CHS. I am going to be sharing my screen so that you can see how this is accomplished. I know essentially whenever there's something new, it looks a little intimidating, but trust me, this is so easy. There's a big green box on the right that says Create Barge. So you click on that. The shipper is already auto-filled. Barge ID, I know this is going to be an Ingram barge because Jelena is here. So if you start typing, it will auto-fill the options that are within Ingram's barges. So you can't ever apply a barge that is not within Ingram's fleet, which is great. I'll try to pick an easy number for us to remember. So ING 4808, we'll make it corn. We'll pick today as the bill of lading date, simple 55,000 bushels, and we'll pick the origin as Winona. And you see how the origins are in there. Carrier is Ingram. We have to make sure that the carrier is in compliance with the barge ID. I'll be creating that bill of lading. And here then it populates into here. So my next step is I'm going to upload a grade certificate. Now, if you have a grade certificate, you can just grab it and upload it, and then take a look at it. And this is a really complicated weight certificate that we're going to show you here. Weight cert. Okay, so it's right there. And then if you can go back. And here we have options. If you click on the barge, I want to apply, either I can apply it out, propose a destination. So I want to apply this out, and I'm going to apply this out to Cargill. And if you start typing, you'll get the options for it. I'm going to apply it out. Now, one thing that I want to point out is that ideally we want everything to go into the BDT system, not wait till the end of the day. Keeping in mind this is an administrative tool, like Brittany explained. This is not an application tool, but once everything has been accomplished on this, we want to get it in the system as quickly as possible to keep the system up to date. We don't want to wait till the end of the day to update the system. So we're going to have to sort out how that is going to be managed. But that's it. Now Margot is going to show you, because I've applied the barge out, hand it over to Margot for her to show you the next step.
So, and I would add to, from what Wendy said, when you upload a grade certificate, this is Brittany again, when you upload a grade certificate, you can do that at any time. So you don't have to do that before you apply it out. And our goal is too that you can see that this is a pretty easy system to keep up to date. And so as stuff is coming in, if you're applying out, that you just keep on top of it.
Okay, so this is Margot, and Wendy just applied me a barge. So the first place I want to look is in my actions filter, since I should be taking action on accepting this barge application. So if I highlight this, I can go in and either accept, reject. So I'm going to actually accept the application. And now, and if you want to go see the details, I think we missed this. You can double click on this line, and then you should get information over here and in the summary page. And then you also be able to see your trade string over here, so you can see that CHS applied this to me, and they applied it at 10/20 at 14:17 Central Time. And you can also click in here and your actions should show up here. So I am going to be keeping this barge, and I'm going to propose a destination, and I'm going to propose Reserve, Cargill at Reserve, and push OK. And then the barge fell out of my actions because I no longer have any actions to do. So Wendy, if you want to take over.
Okay, this is Wendy again, and I'm going to show you the next action. Can you see my screen? Let's see. Let's try that again. Here we go. So in my actions, it pops up here because I have to do something with it. So you can see a destination has been proposed. So if I click on that, and if I want to look at the information on that, just like Margot showed, I can see that a destination has been proposed as reserve. And here's the trade string. So what I want to do now is request a bill of lading. So I just click request a bill of lading, confirm all of the information, make sure that it's going to Cargill, account CHS at reserve, click request. And the shipper on original bill of lading, obviously, in this easy scenario, the shipper is always the one who has to request the bill of lading. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Shalana and see what the barge lines do.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yep.
So this will be your first look at what the barge screen looks like. So we, like Brittany mentioned, we do have fewer filters. So we're going to be mainly working out of the My Actions screen as well. So I'm going to hit refresh, which I just clicked on the My Actions folder and that refreshed it. And now I see that I have a bill of lading requested status barge. So I'm going to click on this line. And what I would do here, just for the Ingram folks and the other carriers, I would look in our logistics system and make sure that this destination of reserve works for us. And it does. So I'm going to hit accept. And then yes, I'm sure. And what's going to happen is it's going to pop up that barge info screen, and it's going to show me a draft of the bill of lading so that I can look it over first to make sure that it looks correct. So here's your first look at the bill of lading that this system corrects. Each carrier has uploaded their own bill of lading form. So this is the Ingram lading with our terms and conditions and all that good stuff on here. We don't have any terminology on our second page, but some of the other carriers do. So theirs will have info on this second page. And right now you'll notice that it doesn't have a signature on it because I have not yet issued and signed the bill of lading, which I'm going to do right now by just clicking a button. And I do want to mention that even those of our customers that have agency agreements, we will go ahead and just issue the ladings that come through the system because we're already in there approving the destination, and it's just one more click for us, and it just will really cut down on delays rather than sending that back to, you know, the shipper to actually click that issue button. And so now I can go in and look at this. I just issued, and it will have a copy stamp on it because I have just sent the original back to the shipper, Wendy, who requested the bill of lading. And then also at this point, I can download a copy of this file for my own internal storage system here by just clicking on this little download button here, and I can save it to wherever I want. So that is a glance at the carrier side of issuing the bill of lading.
Okay, this is Wendy again, and I am going to show you how this has, in my actions, this has shown up again that the bill of lading has been issued. So if I click on that, what I want, this little info button here shows you what the bill of lading here shows the bill of lading here. And what we're going to see, like Shalana said, is now I have the original bill of lading. And she has the copy. It is signed by Shalana. And again, she doesn't have a second page. So what I want to do is, and also keep in mind that this is normally where the accounting department will take over for endorsing the bills of lading and doing the advances. But for ease for us, for training purposes, I'll show you how this is done. So now what I'm going to do is I need to endorse this over to Cargill. So I'm going to click on endorse transfer, and I'm going to say, yes, I want to endorse it over to Cargill. And then you're going to see when that I see the bill of lading again, that I have a copy now because it has been endorsed over to Cargill. So I will let Margot take over, and so you can see how she accepts that bill of lading.
Okay, so I should be able to go to my actions since she transferred the BOL. You can see over here it says BOL transferred. And if I double click on that, you can also see that it transferred here at 1427. So I am going to go and accept the transfer. And I'm going to go look at the BOL that she just transferred. So now I have Cargill has the original, and there is an endorsement box here showing that CHS has endorsed to Cargill. So you have a timestamp up here and the actual signature down here as your like it is on a paper original. So after a couple weeks, we keep this barge and we actually go in and unload the grain from the barge, and then I get a weight cert. I can now go and upload a actual weight cert. Okay, there's my PDF weight cert. And if I go back to the main screen here, as you upload documents, you should be able to go down here and see that you've uploaded. But now, since the trip has completed, I want to go mark this complete, so because it's unloaded. Yes, I'm sure I want to complete. And you will also get email notifications on transactions. So now if I go to completed trips, it should show up in here. And then I believe that it should fall off of CHS's in any of these filters here. And then I believe it's after 30 days, it'll automatically get archived. And then you can also, if you want to go search a barge in, you can also go use the search function up here. So I could go type in ING, and it should just show me that.
And I'll add too to Margot's comments with the document uploads. So when it moves to the archive for anything, it's available for 12 years. So we have a 12-year document retention. I think somebody put that maybe in a Q&A box, and you can upload your cert. And when you upload your weight cert, that is immediately available to the carrier and everyone in the trade string as soon as it's uploaded. Much also if there's multiple unloads, which we'll show later on in the week, that when each weight cert's added and it's kept in there as well. And you can kind of see that when those documents build on the left-hand side, that they build in order that they're uploaded to the record.
So I'll show now what that looks like from the carrier side now that the trader has completed the trip. So it's going to show up now in my actions, and it's going to say completed by trader. So I'm going to open this, double click on this and look at it. And I can now see the weight certificate, and my accounting department can invoice off of this. And once that has been done, we click complete trip. Yes.
Shalina, I can't see your screen.
Oh, sorry. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that. Well, you missed it, but I clicked on complete trip, and now it's going to show up in my completed trips folder. And after, I think, 45 days, it automatically moves from there to the archive. So that was a very simple barge trip from start to end for you.
Yeah, and I would add that in this typical string, there's probably at least 8 people involved, from traders, trade admin, accounting, carriers. So we're blowing through the process, but it's not that one person would have to do all of these steps. So with that, we can go to our second scenario, which is a 4 counterparty trade string, which Wendy will kick us off with.
Hello again, Wendy again. And what I'm going to do, so again, create a barge. So you can access that in the My Actions folder, create a barge. I'll pick a, let's see.
I don't think the T ones are loaded
The
yet.
T's, okay, that's what I was wondering. So let's do IN, let's pick one of those. Sure, 005007. We'll pick a different commodity this time. We'll go with yellow corn. We'll pick today's, for the BL date, we'll do 55,000 bushels. And we'll do the origin of Savage, Minnesota. I'll create the bill of I'll create the barge. And what I'm going to do now that the barge is created, I am going to apply this out to Cargill. And now hand it over to Margot.
Okay, let's see here. Here we go. So now I'm going to go to my actions. Why isn't it there? Did you apply?
Margot, I think you have the search for the ING 4808 still in there. There you go.
Out of that. Thank you, Emily. Okay, so my actions, highlight the barge, and I am going to accept it. And again, you should see the trade string over here. So CHS applied it to Cargill, and now I am going to apply it out to Gavilan. You should see Gavilan pop up over there. There we go. So Emily.
Okay, so if we can get mine to load up again. It's here in application received status, so I am going to accept the application. Yes. And again, we can go into it. We can look, I got it from Cargill, but we can't see anybody in front, just like a normal application process. And then I am going to apply this out, and I am going to go to Bungie. Okay.
So I am, where'd it go? There it is. All right, so this is Brittany. You can see that the barge shows shipper CHS applied from Gavilan. I'm taking it over. I'm accepting that application, saying yes. And again, this application, me accepting it follows on from that phone call. And also we added that yes, I accept, because we can multi-select barges. And we'll show that later on, but so that in case somebody sent one on accident, that you can just bounce it back to them. So with this, I am going to keep it and bill it to myself. So I'm going to propose destination. I'm going to select Destrehan, LA. We can also do a care of, so say I was setting it to a midstream facility, or say Cargill was loading a put through, I very well here could put reserve and put care of Cargill. So that's to give somebody ability to unload that grain, even if they don't typically own it. So for this example though, billing it to Destrehan. Okay. So I proposed my destination. It's now, once this loads, going to disappear because I don't have any actions to take on it, and it'll go back to Wendy.
Okay, this is Wendy, and I will show you. It has popped up in my actions, so I have something that must be done. A destination has been proposed, so I am going to request the bill of lading. And just looking at, because from the phone call, from the application process, I can confirm that this is correct. And then I will request the bill of lading. And then we can move on to Shalena.
Okay. So it has showed up in my actions now for bill of lading requested. So I'm just going to single click on this. I've checked with logistics, Destrehan works, so I'm going to hit accept. And it's pulling up that draft of the lading that I can review. This one, I can see the trade string over on the right, and it looks accurate according to the notify line that's here on the bill of lading. So I'm going to hit issue sign. And again, if I were to open it now, I have the copy because the original went back to the shipper.
Okay, and this is Wendy again. I, as the shipper, will go into my actions, and it has, the BOL has been issued. And now I want to endorse, well, first I want to show you that I can look at the bill of lading, and you can see, oops, sorry, you can see that I have the original. And let's see, I am going to endorse and transfer it. And that goes back to Margot.
Do you want to add your grade cert, Wendy? I guess we could do it at any time. I can.
Yeah, that can be done at any time. And normally our accounting group would do that. But to your point, Margot, you can show them the other actions when you show them the bill of lading on that.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
No.
No.
No. There we go.
There it is.
Okay. So I'm going to go to my actions. And it should also show up in the BOL transferred filter. So you can see it right there. So I'm going to go ahead and accept transfer. Go back to my actions. I want to look at the BOL just to make sure I have the original. And also want to point out over here on the trade string, so you have your application times, but then you also get your transfer BOL timestamps. And I'm not sure if you saw it, but before Wendy signed and endorsed, this was blank, but once she passed that over, her signature showed up here. So this will always be the shipper signature. And I now have an endorsement from CHS. And this will only be the company name. It won't be specific to that person who's ever doing the transferring. Okay, so I want to go ahead and endorse this to Gavilon. BOL transferred, and it should now fall out of my actions, which it did. Emily?
Okay, can we see my screen? I'm
Yep.
Yes.
going to go, okay, great. I'm going to go to my actions, and it showed up here in BOL transferred. And like Margot said, it would also be in my filter over here on the left. I'm going to accept the transfer. I'm going to double check the BOL. Just make sure everything is okay and that we have all of our endorsements, which are done automatically by the system, so we should. And I have the original as well now, and I'm the only one with the original. And then we've got the endorsement from CHS to Cargill, and then the endorsement from Cargill to Gavilon. So I'm going to go ahead and endorse and transfer this bill of lading to Bungie. And we are done with that for now.
So now it comes to me. Let's see. And so I'm going to refresh, go to my actions, click on it. Here's that barge. We've got BOL transferred. I'm going to accept the transfer. One thing I wanted to show you guys too, I don't think, do you guys show, anybody else show it? I forgot to mention earlier that and I'll show it too, that there's a question that came through about notifications. So there are email notifications that are triggered by specific events. So for this one, like the bill of lading was transferred, I got an email from a stock notification saying BDT action performed, bill of lading was transferred with that barge ID. So it says, hey, this happened. Go look at your system. Because I imagine that a lot of people will have the system pulled up all day. But in case you don't, then you still get a nudge saying, hey, you need to do something. And additionally, you probably saw throughout the application process this information building on the left and building on the right. So those are two different areas. One is the system messages, and then one's the trade string. So it's visible in 3 different steps, and it's meant to mimic kind of what happens today. So when you're applied a barge or apply it out, if you're the shipper, you can see everyone downstream from you once the destination is proposed. If you are in the middle of the string, you can only see who applied it to you and who you applied it to. Now, once the destination is proposed that day, you can see everyone downstream from you, much like you would be able to see it from getting your account ofs and your notify from your billing string downstream from you. And then once you get your bill of lading transferred to you, then you can see the entire string, much like you would once you receive the bill of lading in hand. You can look at the bill of lading and see the entire trade string. The exception to this would be reconsignments, but that's a whole different issue. But wanted to let you know that all of this info on the left and right isn't immediately available to you. It happens in stages. So then we are keeping the same kind of visibility that occurs in the industry today. So I received my bill of lading, I accepted it, we can see it here. and can see once it loads that I have the original and that it's complete with 3 endorsement stamps, 1, 2, 3, and I'm the title of the grain. Now, this is in the system, so the actual bill of lading isn't necessarily this PDF, it's the data that comprises the PDF. It's all of the information that's transferred back and forth. So if we come to somebody that, say, doesn't use the system, we would have to roll it all the way back to the beginning and go in a paper process. So that's why we're so excited to get this into everybody's hands, but why we want to make sure that we've reached out to everyone to get everybody involved in the system. It's a pay-as-you-go system, so you only pay for the transactions that you use. So it's really easy to get set up. So we have that bill of lading. I'm going to upload my weight certificate, but I'm not going to complete this trip because we're going to see this again tomorrow. I'm also going to say, hey, here's a grade cert. And worth a note as well, we have all of these grade certificate options. You can only select one of each option for now. So I think we changed it for the independent lab. I have to check, but that way you don't accidentally upload 2 states, 2 feds, or anything like that. So say we have a state official grade. I'm going to add that on here. You'll see over here that it's building that they go in order that they're uploaded. So say you have multiple grade certs, you have multiple weight certs, reconsignment documents, etc., that they add on in the order that they're added. And one more thing on them, they have to be a PDF. So if you receive your grade cert as a Word document, I know we receive some that way, you just have to print it to a PDF or save it as a PDF or however you want to do that in order to upload it into the system. Okay. So that is our 2 billing scenarios for today. We talked about our endorse and transfer. We talked about our weight certificate. So we can go through our Q&A. See, I think I had it shared on the wrong screen. And Julie, do you want to talk through anything that came up?
Sure, we addressed a couple of the questions. The archive keeps documents for 12 years. That was one that came up in the Q&A. Brittany touched on the topic of what notifications will be made available through the system. One that came up a couple times was around how to handle someone who's not on the system. And just by nature of what an electronic bill of lading is, it's not just a document that you can print off and make physical. It's in essence digital information, and so it can't really be transferred to a physical. And so what we are asking people to do is just to be aware of the trade string counterparties that they have purchases and sales from. And as there are counterparties that you have sales to that are not using the system, that we are going to be keeping those transactions in the physical current state process and not putting those transactions into the system. So that, the hope is that because of the ease of use and how much easier it is to transfer data this way, that that we will have a lot of people onto the system, but we are looking to just keep those separate for now. If there are people that aren't on the system, that we will not have that on. I think the only other question was around if, and I'll open it up to the panel, and Tim, we might have to get back to you on it. So if the user is buying product FOB from an elevator, they are the consignee, but they are not listed as the shipper. So the question is if they can put another company in as a shipper under their login.
I don't know that we have a great answer for that right now. Margot, is this different from the thing that we were working on? I think so.
I think it's along the same scenario, but we were going to revisit that after we go live and see if it's doable.
Yeah, so I think I'll answer it by saying I think as of right now, we'll probably want to keep those transactions outside of the system, but that is kind of on our project list, if you will, for items to address. After the system goes live, we will be doing some modifications and updates. So that is kind of one of the items that we will be tackling. So I'd say initially probably not able to handle in the system, but eventually, yes.
Also, if you have questions, please use the Q&A function in the Teams meeting, and then we can answer them if anybody else has any further questions.
And then I think there was just one more question that came up, that we're still collecting information of which companies are available and getting enrolled. So we don't have, a final list yet of users, but we will be collecting that. Again, we hope to garner some more interest this and next week, and we can make some of that information available of who will be using the system so that people know for the transaction purposes of what to put in the system and what to keep out.
Yeah, I'll add one more thing that kind of came to my mind as we were discussing that as far as the separation of admin and how we hand off bills of lading, transactions and the like. So a reminder that the bill of lading typically accompanies a settlement process, an advance process, and invoicing process. So we have set up a call next week, next Tuesday at 2, same time as today, next week with the accounting departments of various companies. If you've not received that, please let me know, brittany.schaefer@bungie.com, and we'll get you on the list so that we can talk through how we'll be processing these in this new environment. So, and it's not that we have a set process now, but we want to get together as an industry and as a group to say, how are we going to handle this? So that we're all ready to go on November 2nd with November 1st ladings.
We have a couple more questions coming through here. So Brittany touched base a little bit on and mentioned the accounting call. So the invoices will be happening as you are endorsing a barge to the next counterparty. So it's not when the initial trade strings being established, but it's when you go in and you click endorse BOL to that next counterparty. That would trigger kind of when an invoice should be sent. And currently, the invoice will not be managed through this system. It's something that we talked about for maybe down the road, but currently there's not the functionality to do invoices through the system. Another question we had was, what happens if you get the same barge a second or third time? And it really, it'd be very similar to the current process or the trade string where, as people are getting SIF applications and giving barges out, it's possible to be in a trade string multiple times. And so the system can handle the same counterparty being in the trade string multiple times, and you'll just be added, it's very similar to how it happens today.
Yeah, and so with that, if you receive the barge 3 times, you'll accept and give out the barge again 3 times, and you'll accept the lading in 3 different steps. So it's kind of just standing in line.
Yep. And then another question is just, is there a limit to how fast a bill of lading can move through the trade string? If all companies agree, are the payments to be made that day? You know, again, I think the limiting factor on this one will just be how quickly companies can or choose to take in the documents and prepare their invoices and get those sent. So, you know, usually it seems like it takes the company about a day to typically process that, of getting the information in and, you know, making sure the contract's priced and sending a wire transfer. So we haven't set a limit of the bill of lading transfer. Again, the trade string can have 15 counterparties, but there's the bill of lading transfer. It'll probably be, I would assume, about once a day, just based on, you know, wire transfer time cutoffs and things like that. And I think those are most of the questions that we've gotten so far. So yeah, so if you think of other questions, again, you know, we'll have another meeting tomorrow, and please feel free to bring those questions or send a note, like we said, to any of us on this call, so that we can address those either individually or kind of to the audience tomorrow. With that, I'll just thank everybody for their time in attending this, and again, encourage everybody to attend tomorrow, and a recording of the session will be made available if you know of people that weren't able to attend, or if there are parts that you want to review again, please definitely feel free to do that.
Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.